Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to give it another 30 to 60 seconds. Just let everyone jump in from the start, and we'll get things started. As usual, we are talking about AI, so we have a very large crowd coming in. A few more seconds, and we'll kick things off. All right, I'm seeing that the participants are... Oh, I was just going to say that they're starting to slow down, but they started ramping up again. Okay, I think we're in a good spot. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the first episode of our AI in Action webinar series. Today, we'll talk about search and match, how you can use AI search and match to help your recruiters be faster and better at matching candidates and jobs together. Few housekeeping items before we get started. This session will be recorded and shared with everyone after. You will be on mute for the duration of the call, but we also have the Q&A panel in the webinar as well. I encourage you to use that as much as you want. Ask us any questions that you might have. We have a lot of content to share with you today, so we might not have the time to answer all of those questions, but we'll either answer them as we go along, or we'll make sure to follow up with you after. So with that said, quick round of introductions on our part. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Eric Mativ. I'm part of the strategy team here at Bullhorn. I look after automation and all things AI. In today's session, I'll be more of a spectator like you guys. This is very much Elke and Abad's show, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves next. Abad, you want to take over?
Yeah, thank you, Eric, and good to see everyone, or see me virtually anyways. So my name is Abad. Maybe you've seen me on previous webinar series. Really excited today to take you through Bullhorn Search and Match.
Hey everyone, my name is Elke Nijhoff, responsible for product marketing at Bullhorn, mainly focused on search and match. And I'm based in Amsterdam, excited to take you through AI search and match today. So let's dive in. Before we'll go into the agenda of today's session, I just want to highlight and echo what Eric said. This webinar is part of a series of webinars where we'll dive into different Bullhorn AI solutions that really help you make more placements and more profit with the same team. So the goal is to really let consultants and recruiters focus on those high-touch activities instead of manual and repetitive tasks. And when combining those solutions, it could look like something like this, like you see on the screen here. So when a job comes in, a search is automatically created. And right there and then you automatically get a list of recommended candidates that are most likely to get hired and succeed. Then you can automatically engage with them, send out a hyper-personalized message, followed up by an AI agent that does the screening for you. And then those candidates that do best will be sent a link to book time in a recruiter's calendar. So what is the big change here? It's all about expanding what you can do with your time and really focus on high value touch points and minimize those repetitive and manual tasks. So just highlighting some of these features and solutions are already live. Some of them are coming very soon. But today we're focusing on AI search and match. So our advanced AI-driven solution for finding the best talent, smarter, better, and faster. What we'll cover in today's session, so we'll first look at some key industry trends, what is shaping talent acquisition today, followed by how AI search and match helps recruiters find those top candidates faster. And then we'll go into a live demonstration hosted by Abad. As Eric mentioned, feel free to drop your questions in the question panel, I think at the bottom of your screen. I hope it's there. Eric will try and answer them during the session, and we'll see at the end if we have time for some Q&A. Let's dive in. The data that you see on this slide is hot off the press. So Bullhorn does a yearly grid survey where we survey more than 1,500 recruitment professionals worldwide, gathering insights on market priorities, challenges, financial performance, and for this specific grid survey on AI and automation adoption and expectations. I believe actually there's a webinar coming up soon where we'll go through all the results, but for today's purposes, highlighting the stats that you see on the slide here. And the key takeaways are really that talent shortage remains to be an issue that we're dealing with. But at the same time, we see fewer job requisitions from clients. That said, it's become even more crucial to find and place the right talent quickly. So it's no surprise that as a result, we also saw that automating candidates, searching and matching candidates is a key priority for firms. That's what we got from the results, really becoming more agile, faster, and more competitive in this highly competitive job market. Now, when we look at a day in the life of the recruiter, one thing is very clear. Most of the time is spent on finding top talent. So that's the most time-consuming part of the job. So even though we spend most of the time doing that, you might still not find the best candidates. And when you do, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a big chance that you might be paying again and again for those same candidates. And how do we know? We've looked at key insights from more than 7 million placement records in Bullhorn, and we found some very interesting stats here that more than 70% of placements actually came from sources outside Bullhorn database. And more than half of those that were sourced from external sources were actually in the internal databases. So let me rephrase that. We found that more than 70% was found in external sources, not in the internal database, but then yet half of those was already in those existing databases. So what does that mean? You're spending money again and again on the same candidate. That is a lot of wasted money. So we're here today to talk about about AI search and match and helping you imagine a world where the internal database can be trusted and where you can automate the majority of your search activities to start with the perfect candidate list as soon as a job opens, focusing on your internal database, but also possible for your connected external sources. And that is where AI search and match can help. Really the smarter, faster way to top talent. So before we'll go into a live demonstration from Abad, I want to highlight the 3 key benefits here that I want to ask you to keep in mind when we go through the demonstration. And first of all, really optimizing and leveraging that internal database by building and sharing laser accurate searches across all your sources. Because AI search and match automatically builds the search query for you and delivers a list of recommended candidates that are most likely to get hired. Secondly, ramp up time for recruiters, always an issue. How do you get those new recruiters sourced like experts as soon as possible? This is not a problem with AI search and match anymore, because with the AI-enabled features, you'll make advanced searches easy. For example, with the keyword expansion library that Abad will walk you through in a minute. And then when you have those search queries built, you might adjust to them with the keyword expansion library. You have full control over your searches. You can keep those searches always on, and you'll be instantly notified of new matches when they come in right into your inbox. So that means there's actually no manual searching needed at all, and that there's time for what really matters. What all of this boils down to is really talking to the best fit candidates as soon as humanly possible, or maybe even faster than humanly possible. So excited to see what this looks like in action, and I'll hand it over to Abad.
Thank you very much, Elka. Let's get this share going. There we are. Hopefully you can see that. Thumbs up. Lovely. All right, so we're going to go into a short demonstration of search and match today. But before we do that, let me just give you a quick summary. So there's sort of 5 main areas that we're going to cover. The first one, of course, is how search and match is just going to be able to provide you with that really good, quick top 10 candidates straight away as soon as you enter that job. How we can then take that search match is created for us and auto build searches for us in Bullhorn Search, enrich those searches with related terms and keyword ontology libraries. But of course, there will be circumstances where you don't have the right candidate in your database, how we can actually go out to external sources, to external job boards, using the same search that we've built out. And then finally, soon you'll also be able to automate those searches with watchers that'll be able to take those searches and provide you notifications about any new and available and relevant candidates. So let's jump in for a quick demonstration. Okay, so here we have this job, IT project manager. And straight away, as soon as I come onto the job, I have a card, the recommended candidates card. This is all part of search and match, and it's going to give me results of my top 10 best matching candidates that exist within my database. It's going to give me a relevancy score. And again, Elka is going to talk a little bit more about how we're getting that relevancy a little bit later. But the idea here is that we're utilizing AI technology to provide you with a really good, quick list of candidates within your database that may be relevant for your role. Now, we talked a little bit earlier around, well, what if I want to expand that search out, maybe narrow that search down because maybe I have a lot of really good candidates in my database. How can we do that? Well, what we can actually do is click on the Show All Candidates button, and you can see here we have 552 potential matches, 53. I can actually click into that, and that will then take me into Bullhorn Search. And what you'll notice is all the top 10 here are the same top 10 that were on the card within the job. So, but what instead I have here is the remainder of the potential matching candidates within my database. What Search and Match has done for me is really quickly and easily created a search for me. So again, you can see here it's built out a really, really powerful, really good search. I didn't have to do anything. It's done it all automatically. When I go in, I can say, well, what if I need to add additional keywords perhaps to maybe find some different candidates or candidates perhaps I haven't just found just yet? And I can do that very easily here. So if I wanted to do something as simple as add the keywords project management or project manager, that's going to come back to me with a list of results, giving me very relevant keyword groupings that I can start using. And again, Elke was mentioning things like, well, how we're going to ramp up, consultants, especially those rookies, those junior consultants, as quick as possible. This is how we do that, where we're taking that lift from them and we're doing it all instead. So we're building that search out, and then when they even need to add additional keywords, it's all being done for them. So let's add in project manager. And again, you can see project management, and you can see here that it also includes additional keywords that I probably would have never thought of off the top of my head, right? It would have, yeah, who knows how long that would have taken. So I can click on that and I can add it in. And you might see here a lot of the keywords have ors in between them, but we also have ands. And it's really easy for me to say, well, if I don't want the and in there, I can drop the keyword group into the same block. I can also take it out, of course, and I can bring it out on its own. And I can even click onto the keyword grouping and even put in exclusions, remove certain keywords, or add keywords that make sense. When I do that, I can also create keyword groupings that can be used across the business or saved for myself for future use. So really easy for you to make those small amendments and those changes to help you find the right candidate as fast as possible. Something you might notice on the left-hand side is auto build search for this specific job. So this is the job that we were working just now. But if we go back for a quick moment, let's say I wanted to start searching for the best matching candidates that perhaps aren't related to this IT project management job. And what I can do is I can quickly go back and I can type in the name or the number of the actual job. You can see here for this Java developer role, I can click on that and that will build out a new search for me automatically without me needing to add in any search criteria. Now, of course, you always will have the situations where you may need to find candidates externally. So this is where you might notice up here it says job boards. So this is where I can now take the same search I just built for searching within Bullhorn, right? Obviously, we want Search and Match is all about helping you find the best candidates as quickly as possible. In the situation where you can't find those candidates and you've exhausted that candidate pool, we can now connect external job boards into the same Bullhorn search interface to help you find those candidates. So again, you can see here when I've clicked on that, that will now take me into my external job boards. I have, in this case, Total Jobs. You might notice in CV Library. We also have many others where I can now add candidates straight from the job board into Bullhorn, view those candidates. But in addition to that, once I have added them, you will know about it too, and the button will indicate that that candidate already exists. So you're not double dipping on the same candidate over and over again. Finally, to finish up today, just want to mention also coming soon is the ability to create watchers. And those watchers will essentially be able to, will essentially give you the ability to take these searches that Search and Match are going to help you build and create watchers that will constantly send you regular updates on any new candidates that meet that criteria. That's it for me. I'm going to hand back to Elka. So thank you very much for your time today.
Great, thank you about that. That's great. So I'd just like to do a quick recap of what you've just seen and how that might differ from your old or current way of working towards what we can do with AI search and match. So what you might be used to is that when you get a job rec from a client, you need to understand what the client's looking for, translate that into a Boolean string, and then run it in your system or maybe external sources, getting a whole lot of results that you have to sort through one by one, getting overwhelmed and rerunning, etc. Now with AI search and match, your search is automatically created. You'll maybe refine your search with the keyword library, but basically you're 95% of the way there to that perfect candidate list as soon as a job opens. And this is really all about optimizing recruiter time for high touch activities. So how is this different than other solutions, you might ask? You know, there's other matching solutions out there, but a key difference is that we're not just matching or on skills or work history. We actually use historical placement and submission data to get the best ranked candidates based on their likelihood of getting hired. They're most likely to succeed in the role, not just matched on their skills and the job descriptions. So that's it from my side. I'm going to hand it over back to Eric.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, thank you guys. That was a great presentation. It was very entertaining for me too, especially as a spectator for the first time in a while. I also want to thank everyone joining us. We do have some time for Q&A. I know that Elke answered quite a few of the questions that were in the Q&A with her last part, but we do have a few that we can expand on. Just before we dive into Q&A, this was the first episode. We also have another one that is focused on the agentic side of AI and what we're bringing to market, specifically our AI screening agent. So make sure you scan the QR code and you can register for that one as well. We're going to leave that on the screen while we'll go through the Q&A. So there were a lot of questions as to what criteria is used to build the search and then execute the search and then match the candidates and how is the relevancy score applied. So to echo what Elke said there, it's not just a match of keyword to keyword. This is the old way of doing things. For a lot of businesses, this is the current way of doing things. And for a lot of them, it will continue to be the current way of doing things. But the new model is, let's take into consideration the keyword to keyword match, but apply an additional layer on top of that. So take into consideration communication history, submission history, placement history, all that historical data that you have to help you further understand which out of all the candidates that you typically match with your Boolean string, which out of all those candidates has the highest chance to be successful for that particular vacancy that you're trying to fill. So this is where AI search and match becomes truly powerful. It's not just about applying the traditional methods with the keywords, but it's also taking into consideration the historical data. There are a lot of questions as to the underlying technology. Is this SourceBreaker? Is this text kernel? I know we had both text kernel and SourceBreaker join the Bullhorn family over the last couple of years. So the answer to your question is that we're working hard to bring in all this functionality that was in SourceBreaker and is in SourceBreaker today and is also in text kernel natively into the ATS to create that experience. So the keyword expansion, as a lot of you recognize it, is existing technology within SourceBreaker and text kernel. And there are many other cool things that we haven't showed you today that will be coming very soon that we're also going to bring natively into the ATS. A lot of you also asked if that they weren't seeing the recommended candidates card on their job when they load it up now. So this is part of AI search and match functionality. It is a new solution that we're bringing to market. If you want to learn more, make sure you reach out to your account manager. There were five or six questions that were asking when this is available. The answer is today. Reach out to your account manager. You can book in a demo. Chances are it'll probably be a bad as well and me involved in that conversation. So you see some familiar faces in there, but you can get additional information as to commercials. What does the implementation path look like for this? How does this affect current technology that you might be using? Where is it replacing it? Where is it complementing it? And all of that. I think this answers most of the questions. Let me just go through it very quickly. I can see that there are more coming in as we go as well. There are a lot of questions around job boards. Again, this is because we already have this existing technology with SourceBreaker and text kernel. More and more job boards are added into AI search and match. The best thing you can do is reach out to your account manager and have a conversation about what job boards you're using today or you're planning to use, and we can give you an indication of where we are with those. Source breaker. A lot of questions about text kernel and source breaker. There was a question around data health and how healthy does your data need to be for you to be able to use this tool effectively. And the answer is that data health is going to be extremely important, not just from an AI search and match perspective, but for anything you want to do with AI moving forward, whether it's an AI assistant to generate content, whether it's to match candidates and jobs together, whether it's to better screen candidates, and or anything else that you might want to do with AI, right? So a key foundational technology that you should be thinking about, and they kind of go hand in hand. You can't really have a scalable AI strategy without it, is start thinking about automation. If you're not automating already, this is the bare foundation that you need to start bringing into your business, and use automation to put safeguards in place, to start standardizing your data and start improving it gradually into the business. You don't need to have a perfect database to start rolling out AI. We're never going to get into a state where your database is 100% reliable. But by implementing technology like automation and gradually rolling out AI, you'll be in a very good place and be a lot more competitive than people that are looking to wait.
I see one question for someone that joined later. It's an easy one. Will this be recorded? Yes, we'll share the webinars afterwards as well. Just giving you some time to read through the questions, Eric.
Okay, so a couple of questions here. The first one is from the external sources, when you're adding in candidates from external sources into the ATS, that would be parsing in a candidate into Bullhorn. So the question was, is the data going into the relevant fields in the ATS? It will go in the exact same way as it would if you were to parse in the CV yourself. So the email will go into the email field, phone number into the phone number field, and so on. Well, one thing that Abad showed in the demo as well, which you see was popped up here as a question, when you are going through those external sources, you'll be able to very easily differentiate which candidates you already have in your ATS and which you don't. So one of the key challenges and part of the statistic that Elke showed us earlier as to why businesses are spending so much money in acquiring essentially the same candidates multiple times is the fact that if you don't have a centralized sourcing solution, you're duplicating your effort and you're going into multiple job boards all the time, right? You're copying and pasting the same search. But while you're in the job board, you don't really know if that people is already there until you spend that credit. And then when you add them in the ATS, that person might already exist, but there's a risk that you would create a duplicate record as well. So this actually gets rid of that. When you're looking at those external sources, if that candidate already sits within Bullhorn, rather than saying add to Bullhorn, you'll be able to open that candidate record into the ATS. So we're always trying to drive a database first mindset to help you control your spend on external sources, but also help your team start relying on your ATS first and build that database first mindset within the organization. And then for anyone that already exists, but maybe you added years ago and they need their data to be refreshed, then you also have the option to parse them as existing. So even though you're seeing people externally, you can still refresh the profile with new information.
See one question, Eric, about implementation time, I think. So that's also, it's quite fast when a contract is signed. It will be about a week for these features to be enabled for you.
Yep. And I think that this covers most of the questions. There was one question as to whether you can add additional criteria around these auto searches to kind of customize that auto build. I would say reach out to your account manager. Not to be vague on this webinar, but there might be things that can be done. Just reach out to your account manager. We can have a deeper conversation to truly understand what you're looking for. A lot of questions around commercials.
Yeah.
Have your account manager, they're best equipped to run you through it. It very much also depends on the technology that you're already using. There was one question around how does AI search and match work with the other technology within Bullhorn? So how does it work with automation? How does it work with everything else that we might have? There's some very exciting things that we're doing there. One of those is a matching agent. More detail will come around that. If you want to learn more, you can reach out to your account manager even today, but it's a great way to start automating the matching of candidates and jobs together with this new matching algorithm that we're bringing to market. Okay, I think we are at time. There are a few other questions that we haven't gotten around to. Yes, there was anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Just saw a question like, would this remove the need for source breaker? And it's just that we give the opportunity. This is going to be our long-term investment product, right? And we're merging in all the features from source breaker and text kernel for this to be our flagship native solution on AI search and match. So there will be a time and place if you want to move over from source breaker to AI search and match.
Yes. For anyone that is looking to do that or is interested to learn more about what that process would look like, I know I'm saying this a lot, but do reach out to your account manager. Me and Abad can get involved, or I can get involved to help further understand the way that you're using the source breaker or text kernel today, and how what that journey would look like with AI search and match, just to make sure that you are making the right choice for you at this point in time.
Great.
All right.
Lovely.
Thank you everyone for your
Lots
time.
of great questions. Thank you, everyone.
Any questions that we didn't get around to answering on this webinar, we will make sure to follow up with you after. So don't worry, you will get an answer to those questions. But thank you again for joining us. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Yeah, see you next
Thanks,
time.
everyone.
Cheers.
See ya.